guys, it's Nick, and it's Blackhawks preseason update so far. The Blackhawks have played 3 preseason games so far to start it off. They played against the Detroit Red Wings twice and the Washington Capitals once, all in 3 days consecutively. This is interesting because you don't really see 3 straight games in hockey, but it is the preseason, so you can easily do that. The Blackhawks did play a lot of their prospects this week, and some prospects I wanted to keep an eye out during the preseason. They've been playing well. They are producing well and may be fighting for a spot come opening night in the Czech Republic against the Philadelphia Flyers. And 2 of those players is Adam Boqvist and Dominik Kubalik. Yeah, Kubalik and Boqvist have been playing well so far in this preseason, including a player the Blackhawks acquired in a trade that I got angry at during this offseason in Alex Nylander. Nylander's been playing well, Boqvist has been playing well, and Kubalik, he has a rocket of a shot. The Hawks' young core is starting to be built, and they are showing in this preseason. I am enjoying how they have been playing thus far this year in preseason action. Boqvist, yes, he's a defenseman, and he does insane stick handling skills in the offensive zone. That makes you think he's a winger. Kubalik has a rocket of a shot, and he's scored 2 goals so far this preseason. Nylander, he has a goal this preseason and 2 assists. Boqvist has a goal and 1 assist thus far this preseason. But I'm using this time for preseason as a evaluation time to see who I think could potentially make the Blackhawks opening night roster in the Czech Republic. It's interesting to say that because it's out of country it's out of North America. So the Hawks are going to want to keep evaluating each time. With the Hawks playing 3 games so far this preseason, 3 more remaining. 2 technically, because we only play 2 more NHL teams and 1 from Berlin. And that game will have its own video separately. The game against the Bruins and Capitals, those will have their own, this style of video. But this is interesting to see that the Blackhawks have been playing well. They did not win. They won 1 out of the 3 games, but lost 1 in overtime. The first game they played well against the Washington Capitals. They lost They've lost a couple, just lost in overtime 4-3 to the Capitals from a Tom Wilson overtime winning goal. Game 2, and it was game 1 against Detroit. They lost 5-3. It was not a good game. Defensively, goaltending, they actually played well. We had Robin Lehner make his Blackhawks preseason debut. I can't say his official Blackhawks debut because it technically is not. He played well in net. Same with Kevin Lankinen. He played well in that. They split the goalies that game. First game, it was Colin Delia in net. And the third game, it was the Crow in net the entire game. Corey Crawford played on his head the entirety of that game. Hawks win it 2-1 over the Detroit Red Wings in the Madhouse on Madison with that big scoreboard in the UC. Yes, I've seen photos of it. That's ridiculous how big it is. And in the game, who scored the winning goal for the Hawks in Game 3 and Game 2 of the Detroit series, it was Duncan Keith. Duncan Keith snipes it from the circle after a nice pass from Kane and Nylander to give the Hawks the 2-1 lead. Brandon Hagel tied the game up in the second period. and got them at 3:33 to give the Hawks the tied game. It was a good, well-played game in the third game of the preseason because there were a lot more normal Hawk players on the game. Where I have to talk about a defensive pairing, two defensemen pairing in that game that I was interested in keeping an eye out on. It was Duncan Keith and Adam Boqvist, and Oli Mata and Brent Seabrook. They played well together, and it showed. The team was they just played well together. Mata and Seabrook looked like a solid defensive pairing together, and I can see that potentially being the third D pairing this upcoming year. The second game, that was more of a offensive powered game. Hawks had the lead, started off slow, they tied it up, then it just fell apart after scoring their second goal. And that happens. It's preseason, it's evaluation time, it doesn't matter. And that was when Kubalik scored 2 goals in one game. And he played well in that particular game. So I think Dominic Kubalik is battling for the last for opening night roster spot in Chicago. And then in the first game against Washington, it was a 4-3 loss in overtime. Alexei Sorella, a great acquisition, probably a steal of an acquisition, scored the first goal of the preseason, and it was assisted by Gustafsson and Nylander. Then Washington tied in early in the second period, but then this happened. Alex Nylander snipes the puck into the net, assisted by Boqvist and Camp. Then Washington takes the lead after 2 quick goals, and then at 12:46 in the second period, scored by number 27, Adam Boqvist, and this was a highlight reel goal already. This kid can do this. He was behind the goalie of Washington and bounced the puck on his stick a couple of times and went around for kind of a fake wraparound, got it up and fake shot it, hit the iron off the post and off the crossbar, and got the Hawks the tying goal. And it was a nice